Appliance giant SharkNinja crushed it with second quarter estimates, raising guidance thanks to strong international sales. The results come as the company tries to mitigate its reliance on China. And I'm pleased to say that SharkNinja CEO Mark Barrocas joins us now with more. Mark, great to have you with us. Let's talk exactly about that. I know that you said on the call that 90% of your U.S. volume is produced outside of China. You remain on track to reach 100% by the end of the year. Where are you shifting that supply chain to?
Well, look, let's start off with we had a great quarter. You know, we grew our revenue nearly 16%. Our gross margin rate improved in a very challenging economic environment. We leveraged our operating expense and we grew our adjusted EBITDA 33% in the quarter. You mentioned kind of our diversified supply chain. I mean, we started this initiative over 4.5 years ago, making our first product outside of China back then. And at the end of the second quarter, we're able to produce 90% of our US production outside of China, mainly in Southeast Asia. I mean, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia. Those are the key manufacturing hubs.
Well, that's the thing, Mark. It kind of feels like whack-a-mole sometimes that, okay, you've shifted outside of China, but those companies or countries rather that you just mentioned in Southeast Asia, they are not immune from what we're seeing on the trade front. So how do you begin to think about that, to navigate that when you're trying to make these supply chain decisions?
Well, look, I think we are starting to get a little bit more clarity around, you know, the trade landscape. I mean, I think China, you know, is going to have elevated tariff levels. You know, the tariffs came in around 19-20% in some of the countries that I mentioned. We've developed a very scaled, very high quality, fast turn, low cost supply chain. And as I said, in the quarter, you know, we grew our gross margin rate. So we've done a whole lot of work on the buy side, you know, looking at discounting, looking at strategically where we can increase average sell price, but always keeping the consumer in mind to make sure that we're delivering high-performing products with great quality at an extraordinary value to the consumer.
What are your biggest new product wins so far this year?
Matt, you know, we came out with a whole bunch of fans this last quarter, and you might say, well, fans, I mean, they've been around for 100 years. I mean, who needs another fan? And, you know, this is really, you know, what SharkNinja is at its best, is trying to find what's the consumer problem. And for us, the consumer problem was how do we keep the consumer cool, whether they're at the beach, whether they're at Disney World, whether they're sleeping at night and they're a hot sleeper, or whether they're just a hot person overall. And we developed 2 new fans that we launched, the Shark Turbo Blade and the Shark Flex Breeze Go. Those products have a couple of 100 million impressions on social media, and it really drove a lot of growth for us in the second quarter. But it's quite broad-based. I mean, we're in 37 different product categories. We sell in 26 different countries around the world, and we've got a lot of great new products coming out for the balance of this year and into the holiday season.
You know, it's been super hot, at least in the Northeast.
And everybody's wearing fans,
yeah,
you know?
That's true.
Like their headphones, but...
Yeah, mostly children. I feel like I see children with handheld fans. But
yeah.
In any case, Mark, I do want to go back to where you're actually putting together these fans and all of your other products. You have quite a portfolio. I know that the Wall Street Journal has previously reported that you're looking for a place to build a factory in the U.S. Can you give us an update on where you might build it and what that timeline could look like?
Well, look, timeline standpoint, it's a few years out. I mean, there isn't any manufacturing base in the U.S. today for our types of products. I mean, there isn't even a sub-supplier base for our kinds of products. So, you know, we've been doing some investigating over the last quarter, trying to identify which products in our assortment can be made in the United States. I mean, we've recently gotten into the cooler business. You know, we've made a product called the Ninja Frost Vault. We think that has the potential. There's some, you know, easier manufacturing products, you know, that we think could be applicable for us to manufacture in the U.S. And so, but it's a multi-year project, you know, as we think about, you know, how do we get the subcomponents for those products? How do we stand up the factories for those products? Who might we partner with to be able to do that? And I think over the course of the next few quarters, we'll have that, you know, much more detailed out.